So, hello and welcome back to my channel. So, I felt like posting another video just because I felt like it, and the main reason is that it's just super nice place where I'm staying, which means there is a lighthouse right there, and on the other side there's like a super cool place, like sun in the sky, and like distant kind of like misty mountains or whatever we can say they are. So I was trying to think like about 5 minutes what I'm going to film about, and the most obvious thing that I thought of was that I would probably need to talk about traveling, like traveling in general, because that's like the most interesting thing that people are asking me about. Like, how do I move about, and where do I go, what type of a life I'm living, and then so many times I'm hearing that, you know, like strange comments, like, people being either jealous or thinking that, how is it doable with such little money and finances, and, like so many things. I mean, I also meet other travelers, which is great and nice, but I feel like, because traveling is a very, very open area. It's an open thing. It's like when we're traveling, then everybody finds their own way of traveling, and your way of traveling is not my way of traveling. And by this, I want to say that, when you're like a traveler who is kind of, making all sorts of plans and stuff, and then doing these things just because you want to see certain places on Earth, then that's like pretty cool way to travel. But because I've been traveling now about 4 years, like on and off. I've also been staying in places for longer term and so on. But anyway, the thing that I want to point at is that because I feel like my general idea to share would be just the easiness of it, the easiness and the difficultness of it. And I know that I am always talking from my own experience. Because I mean, first when I started to travel, I was also thinking about things like money, like how do I sustain it, and where do I go, where do I find the people, how do I deal with all sorts of things that happen. Like, for example, when you are going into like nature alone for a long time, then you can have all sorts of things arise inside you. Um, or like when you're in a bad situation somewhere far away and you don't know what to do, and all of these little things. But basically, what I feel like is that everything comes down to your own mind, and to the fact that if you are able to control your mind very well, then you are able to do your life into anything. Which means that what I want to say is that whatever you are focusing upon in your mind is the place where you are sending your energy into. And if you are focusing enough into one place, then you will know that you're basically creating your reality in this place where you're focusing on. And from this place, then you can act and start to make your like new reality. The other, next things that you are doing, whatever it is. So if you're, taking like a very, very big concept, like traveling can be a very big concept. Or it can be like a short journey, but this is not my area, so this is something that I'm not gonna touch. So what I want to say is that then you're probably like thinking like what are the things that come to your mind when you think of it, like places where you want to go, and then you start to think of all of the things that you actually don't need to think about, and so on. So what I would like to say is just sort of because from my own experience, I've traveled many different ways, but I found that I find the most freedom when I'm doing it like in a way that let things to flow, but at the same time I'm kind of holding my focus and my sense of being in like a very grounded way, as my friend yesterday said very nicely, and pointed out that she feels like I am always, when we are talking about traveling and other stuff, such emotional and deeper things, then she said that to me, that I'm probably like always trying to find a ground somewhere. And I feel like she was probably like really right. And I also like feel it in my body very strongly. Like for example, my root chakra, all the time, like when I'm sitting, whatever I'm doing, I feel like it's trying to find the ground a lot. But at the same time, I feel like when I'm moving around, like from one place to another, then the ground is kind of like expanding and sharing what is possible. It's like inside there's like a creator, like me, that comes out from the source of my being. And at the same time, when I am in like different places, then in these places I can see how it is mirroring me in different ways. And this is like one of the main reasons why I like to go into different areas, just to see what it is that is like manifesting out of me when I don't put my focus into one certain place, because I can also do that. And in this case, when I'm, for example, focusing on one place where I really want to go or be at, and then when I go there, then I'm inside the energy that I created, and I see like what it is doing there, because I've done like a big tension point there, like in a good way, like a tension as like a focus, because we can also see tension as something like really difficult and bad. But anyway, then I go into that place and I see how the stuff from the tension point, like with my own ideas and help and stuff, is like flowing out, going around, and sharing what it is doing, what it is creating, and what the stuff is that I was with my focus putting inside it. Because there is like energy interacting with other types of energies everywhere and all the time. Meaning that when we are in one place, then we don't necessarily see how it is moving. I mean, we can, if we are sitting, for example, in meditation for many days and so on, then we can very well easily see how things are moving. Or even in like half an hour meditation, you calm yourself down and everything is clear and you see how it is moving. But at the same time, when you are, I feel like I'm all the time like trying to put things down into like very simple concepts, like just into like a flow of like holding on to something and then letting go of something. Because when we think of like these like kind of like hippie travelers, and I've been called hippie like 1,000 or million billion times, and I always don't think it is a nice word, but it's okay because I just sort of take it. But anyway, when you're like all the time like this free flowing one, then you can say that you're very easily lost, very easily going away into places where you don't want to be and so on. So what I would like to point at is just exactly this thing of like a focus, of like holding on to something in order to have like a pinpointed something, and then you can like play with it because you have like some sort of a ground to play with. And in that case, you can, when you feel like things are getting out of hand, then you go back into like this thing that you're holding onto, or like the thing that you kind of feel safe about, where you like focus on a certain thing and everything else sort of fades away because your focus is in one point. And then whatever happens, you will find your clarity again. And if you don't, then for a while you are in a trouble, and then the world will help you again. It's like all the time happening in this way. it's funny because like when we are expecting something to happen, then it usually doesn't happen. But when we are sort of like just like open and giving out from ourselves, then things are more likely to happen in a way that is like correlating to our wishes that we have maybe had like a few years ago or just yesterday or an hour ago or whatever time we are putting there, because the time also is a relative thing. um, so I feel like when you're just out in the world with your own backpack and nothing too much to worry about, then it's like very freeing way of life. It's freeing, and you can really focus on yourself, on your being, on your life. I feel like every day is like 1,000 times longer than when you are sitting at home and doing, I don't know, this and that, whatever they are. Maybe nice things, maybe not nice things. Depends really. I mean, if you're this type who really sits at home and dreams of traveling, then probably you really kind of like already manifested in your life. I mean, I started to dream of this when I was like 12 years old. I had many dreams of like having like a hippie van and like backpacking and doing stuff. And I feel like I was actually manifesting a lot of it. And I'm still doing it. But in a different way, in a more focused way, in a way that I don't have these silly fears anymore of like if I run out of money or if this and that happens, or I don't know. I've been in so bad situations, in so crazy situations that and come out of them in such incredible ways that I'm sort of like just trusting and feeling also that I'm so much more comfortable with being out and about doing things, I used to be afraid of things like hitchhiking, and now I've like hitchhiked through the Europe and like in different countries, and I've never had a single bad experience there. um, I used to be very, very introverted, but now when I'm going around, I'm like really happy talking to locals. And just when I was in Thailand, for example, where people speak Thai language mostly, then but also good English. Then also I felt like very much like heart opening, because it's like different cultures also which open up to you. So, for example, when you feel like your life has no meaning or reason or something, and you're kind of feeling like you don't like anybody in the world anymore, you're basically, you're not resonating with your friends or whatever it is, and like going into different country, like totally starting out from like a 0 point, and then seeing what happens, like a white sheet, and then sort of like recreating your life. I feel like this is like the basically the best and the biggest thing that you can do yourself. Like best and the biggest gift to yourself is what I mean by this sentence. Um, so yeah, and I also feel like just going on like a long distance journey or travel by yourself is probably the most like spiritual thing that one can actually do in their life at all, because it's like a journey. It's like a hero's journey of your life, and in a way that you're actually getting a lot of challenges and immense amount of self-improvement. So yeah, um, and it's addictive. It's very addictive. It's from my experience, it's like, yeah, I don't think addictions are bad things. Addictions are kind of like hobbies, or like things that you are putting your energy into. Like for example, if you are addict of tennis, then you are probably calling yourself a tennis player. So if you are like addict of traveling, you are probably calling yourself a traveler. So yeah, maybe it sounded a little bit stupid, but anyway, I just had to put this one out as well. Um, so yeah, what I want to say at the end of the video is that I hope really that you are finding it useful, and that saying to you that you are always welcome to interact with me. I am having also accounts in Instagram and Facebook and places. So if you want to hear more about my stuff, what I have done, and what kind of things I've gone through and how I have sustained my travels, how I'm doing it right now, and so on, then please feel free to ask me, and I can do another video, or I can just sort of have a chat with you, because I love talking to people and helping you as well if you need to. So this is my 2 cents or 3 cents or how many cents there is. But I hope that it was helpful and that you are having a good time.